Hey guys, what's up? This is Evo Rainbow McLean for live once again, and I'm back for another video and for my review on the second movie in the trilogy of John Wick. And today I'm gonna talk about is John Wick Chapter 2. Don't stab the devil in the back, which Keanu Reeves stars. The title. This is the sequel and one of the greatest sequels of all time. Yes, I love John Wick Chapter 2 to death. Honestly, John Wick Chapter 1, John Wick the first one is still my favorite of the two. But this used to be my favorite of the both of them. But recently, rewatching both the films, I have to say that I actually enjoyed the first one a little more. But I would say John Wick Chapter Part 2 is almost good as the first one. It's almost good as the first one, but I'll still put the first one above it. I do have some nitpicks, some problems with the film, but I love John Wick Chapter 2 to death. And John Wick Chapter 2 continues the story of the hitman John Wick. John Wick, he's actually after the unfinished business from the first movie, in which he killed the Russian mobster Vigo Tarasso and his son Yosef, who was responsible for the death of his dog, and he stole his car. John Wick tries to put his bloody past behind. He tries to live on with his new dog. His new dog is Pitbull. His new dog is Pitbull. It's not like it's my dog, but his new dog is a Pitbull. And yeah. His new dog is actually a Pitbull. And on his doorstep, the Italian mobster from Camorra, that's of course Santino Di Antonio, played by the Italian actor. I did wrote down Riccardo Samarzio, played by the Italian actor who plays Santino Di Antonio. He on the doorstep, Santino Di Antonio he goes and asks John Wick to do a job for him, and John Wick wants to be a retired hitman, an assassin, and he actually gave a marker. He was he gave him actually a marker which he's bound by blood oath. It means he's under oath. It means he gives, under the rules, the management of the Continental Hotel, he gave his marker to Santino Di Antonio for the job so that he could get back, in order to get retired. So now the Italian mobster Santino Di Antonio needs John Wick, the boogeyman. And because he gave him his marker, and John Wick is now bound by oath, to complete the task that he's been asked to. And John Wick says no. That time, Santino D'Antonio gets very pissed, so he uses a launcher, and he goes and burns John Wick's house. It was actually Arvin 37 launcher, which Santino D'Antonio, fires and burns his house. And I love the scene when his dog shows up. How much he loves his master, and John Wick goes to the hotel, and he goes to the manager, and he talks. He talks to Winston, which he's the manager of the rules, Continental Hotel, and he's the manager of everything, and there's no business on Continental, and there are rules, if you don't obey the rules, the membership is actually, the penalty is death. And if you don't do that, if you run, you die. If you kill the owner of your marker, you die. If you refuse, you die. And of course, manager told him, why did you give him your marker to Santino D'Antonio? And John Wick said, because I will be dead. That's the only reason I could survive, because Santino D'Antonio helped him. So John Wick has no choice, but he has to go to Santino D'Antonio and ask him what he wants, and Santino D'Antonio wants that John Wick goes into Rome in Italy and goes and kills his sister. I think was. Gianna D'Antonio, she's the head of the table. From Camorra, she's the head of the table in Italy, and he wants, that John Wick kills her so that he can get the high table, because he wants to get the head of the table, the high of the table, and he's gonna take New York and of course Rome. But now, because his sister, she's actually the head, and he isn't. He can't be. So he needs John Wick. So John goes. So John travels to Italy, Rome. Franco Nero is also one of those guys, and yeah, I'll talk later if I don't forget. But he travels to Italy, and he grabs the prince how to escape to the tunnels, and also he gets the bulletproof vest and tons of guns, so they're gonna pull this job over. And in Italy, on this concert, he goes, like a boogeyman. He is, he's like a boogeyman, and he's a ghost. He goes into this this hall in this room with Gianna, and she goes and in order, because she knows that her brother sent him, to kill her. So she says, I'm gonna live my life alone. I'm gonna die, and took my own life. So she goes and stabs herself. She goes naked in the bath, and she dies, and John shoots her so that he finishes. But he knew exactly that he's gonna be crossovered by Santino D'Antonio, who goes and calls him, and that was who goes and calls him in the tunnels. He became a marksman, but he escaped, and he goes and escape. And of course, we also find out that Common played, Casey, and he was also in the film, who chases John Wick and fights with John Wick, and that actually was, But now, since Santino D'Antonio got what he wanted, he orders a worldwide hit on John Wick. And John Wick becomes now a marksman against an elite of assassins. And John Wick, he has to keep moving in order, to finish what Santino D'Antonio started it. by killing the man who ordered a hit, on him, And yeah, the head for John Wick was $7 million. And yeah, and John Wick, he keeps moving while he's been chased by assassins, while he's chasing, Santino D'Antonio through the entire movie. Yeah, so that's basically is the plot. And so now I'm actually gonna go to the actors, actually that's the plot, John Wick against an elite of assassins, and John Wick Chapter 2 is a badass. It's another badass sequel, almost good as the first one. Now we have a cast. Common plays Kasian. He works for Gianna D'Antonio, and because he was protecting her and he called her, John Wick killed her, so now he promised blood for blood that he's gonna finish off John Wick. Cameron also played the enemy in Street Kings. I reviewed Street Kings with Keanu Reeves, which I love that movie to death. But John Wick Chapter 2, I actually said, yeah, it's a badass film. I mean, it's definitely in my top 5 favorite Keanu Reeves movies, my top 30 favorite action films. Yeah, so Cameron did a great job as Kasian. We also do have the actress Claudia Guerini. She's also Italian actress. She did a good job as Gianna D'Antonio. She wasn't much in the film. We also have Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix. Yes, he is from The Matrix. Lawrence Fishburne is in this movie, and he's the Bowery King. And they actually filmed in Brooklyn Bridge, the scenes. I tried to find out more, but they actually filmed in Brooklyn Bridge in New York. Most of the scenes were filmed in Canada, in Toronto, and Italy, and the other scenes were filmed in New York. And I think the bridge, which is the Bowery King, because Lawrence Fishburne has only 10 minutes screen time in the film, but he's the Bowery King, and I really like his performance, Yeah, I like his performance. Whatever say, John. Yes, John. Sure, John, Someone please get this man a gun. I just love the Bowery King played by Lawrence Fishburne. And yeah, that's actually the back. No, John Wick, the back. But Lawrence Fishburne was awesome. I love John Wick's dog. But yeah, Lawrence Fishburne was awesome this movie. And I also have to say, the other cast besides Keanu Reeves, which did the best job ever, his best performance. Keanu Reeves trained 3 months driving, marksman, with guns, handling with guns, and he trained martial arts, jiu-jitsu, judo, and in order to play this character. And he's a badass, Like I said, this movie came out in. This movie actually came out in 30 January in the US, 2017, while The Equalizer came out. Part 2 came out next year. Which I didn't give a fuck about. I didn't even watch the fucking film. But yeah, John Wick Chapter 2 is a badass, and that time was my favorite of the two, but now when I rewatched them again, the first one still actually my favorite of the two. But John Wick Chapter 2 is a badass film, almost good as the first one. Not better, because some people say it's better. It's not better, but still a good one. But I'll go with the problems soon. Now the cast, besides I enjoy Keanu Reeves, Cameron, and Lawrence Fishburne. I enjoy. Most of the cast, I didn't care for. The villains I didn't care for. But I'm gonna actually say that I did like the female violinist in the subway. She was a female violinist assassin. She was played by Heidi Moneymaker. She was a stunt woman, and she was also a stunt woman for Ruby Rose as Ares. She was a stunt woman for her, while she played a female violinist assassin who goes and fights with John Wick. and that's my favorite scene. And John Wick goes and breaks her neck, which I love. That fucking awesome. She goes and shoots in the back. He goes and breaks her goddamn neck. I love that scene. Also, the guy who was a heavy set Asian man who looks like sumo wrestler was played by Yama, a real sumo wrestler. He fights off with John Wick. John Wick goes and shoots him in the chest a few times, in the head. I love that scene. And those two guys who were the subway try to stab. John Wick goes and stab both of them. The pencil. He grabs the pencil, stab the guy in the head, which was awesome, which was a badass. But one of the guys was Shibuya Shimamoto was one of the two men, so that was awesome. But the rest of the cast, Ian McShane, I liked it that he returned as Winston, and Lance Reddick as the guy the black guy, who's in he's in the hotel. I like him. He was okay, but the rest of the cast, I just didn't care for that much. Claudia Guerini, I like her. She was okay. But that's actually most of the cast. But Chad Stahelski once again directed this movie, which was awesome, was badass. Derek Kolstad wrote the screenplay from the first one. Now he's also Derek Kolstad in this movie. Screenplay. The music was by Tyler Bates and Joel J. Richard, which I thought the music score was better than the first one. But I'm glad that there was a little semblance of from the music of the first movie, so I really enjoyed that. Chad Stahelski, who was stuntman for Neo, for Keanu Reeves as Neo in The Matrix, was awesome. And yeah, director it's already there. It's still bloody film. It's 2 hours over long film. It's 2 hours and 1 minute long film, but I still enjoy the film. Now to action scenes. Yes, it has a badass action in the open scene. In the open scene we have the Mustang 1969, which just kinda look like Ford Mustang, just like the one that was used in the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and similar car was later used in Fast 5, or was it actually was Furious 7. But yes, I love when John Wick, there's a chase and there's a biker motorcycle. He's trying to escape by John Wick. John Wick goes and hits him. He goes and hit the guy, which was awesome. I like that scene. Then we find out, I forgot to mention, Peter Stormare is in this movie as Abram Terrasso. He's actually a brother of Vigo Terrasso. He was awesome. But only he had like 3-4 minutes in the film, so that wasn't much impressive by Abram Terrasso. But I liked the twist in the film. But yeah, so John Wick, he goes in this workshop, grabs the car. They have his car. He grabs the car and he goes and chases. He steals the car, and these guys are trying to kill him. These assassins try to kill him, and there's another biker goes and chases him, and John Wick opens the door. The guy crashes in the door, flies over, gets killed. There's a guy with a taxi, tries to run over John Wick. John Wick hits the guy, crashes the car, opponent. The guy flies over the car, tries to escape. John Wick goes just like in the first movie and uses it as a weapon. He's the guy. He lands right in the metal plates. Lands dead. He did that to that lawyer in the first movie. The guy who says to Vigo, Russian cocksucker, shoots on the John Wick. John Wick uses the car as a weapon. That was awesome. So this guy taxi, crashes in the car. John Wick flies over the car. And John Wick, he stands up and like three opponents goes and try to fight him off, and John Wick uses all martials, kills everyone. And there's another guy who goes in the taxi, goes and fights off John Wick, and John Wick can't defeat the guy, so grabs the gun, pow pow pow, shoots him dead. He goes to Abram and says peace, which is awesome. I forgot to mention John Leguizamo returns as the guy from the first movie. Forgot the guy. Aurelio. Yeah, it's kind of Spanish or Latin name. So Aurelio, he returns. John Leguizamo wasn't that much screen time in the film because I don't know why. Maybe because because of the other movie's commitment, or because of his schedule. The stuntman, special effects stuntman team, they had to give the details to Aurelio, John Leguizamo, what happened to the car. So the most of the lines were actually added. It wasn't screenplay, it was added, and it was improvised by John Leguizamo because he was a mechanic shop. He was a car mechanic, and that was just awesome, which I liked it in the open scene. I'm glad that John Leguizamo returns. I know it's listed John Patrick David Kelly from 48 Hours, Commando. He's listed in the film Warriors, but I did not see him. I did not notice him unless he was visible. I did not notice him in the film. But yes, the action sequences are awesome. We have a tunnel sequence when John Wick escape through that gala. He escapes through the tunnels, and I actually love the scene. When Ruby Rose shows up, and John Wick stands in front of her, says loose ends, and she shows that because she's smooth, she shows just one, and I love when and she shows something with the finger. He yeah, he says loose ends, and she says, she shows the finger, just one, shows a middle finger. And when John Wick says, yeah, he's like a pure badass. Yes, I love that scene because it reminds me on John Spartan, but from Demolition Man, played by Sylvester Stallone. And I thought Demolition Man's underrated because people more talk about Cobra. I want to talk about Demolition Man. And in the open scene, when John Spartan uses his Beretta and he reloads Beretta in front of Simon Phoenix, and then Simon Phoenix, keeps pushing and he says, yeah, just like badass. I thought John Spartan and John Wick are both badass in my opinion. Demolition Man is a badass film, and John Wick Chapter 2 is a badass film. Love that scene, and dozens of assassins from nowhere shows up, and John Wick uses his gun, his pistol. He runs away. He grabs a machine gun. Actually, it wasn't a machine gun. It was a semi-automatic rifle, and I wrote down it was semi-automatic rifle TR1 ultralight. Yes, it was ultralight TR1 ultralight rifle carbine. It was semi-automatic rifle, and John Wick goes, shoots all the motherfuckers left and right, shoots them all, He goes and shoots them all, left and right, he shoots them. He goes and shoots them left and right, and he kills all of them. Then he uses, he's out of bullets, grabs a shotgun, and he goes and uses the shotgun. Benelli M4 Super 90 12 gauge, TT M4 upgrade package, uses Benelli, Super M4 Super 90 shotgun, shoots the motherfuckers. He shoots all of them, which was badass. It was awesome. Then there's a scene. Then he escapes the tunnels, and Cajun goes after him, and the fight scene, two martial art experts, they actually performed what they saw in the movie. It was correctly, it was I think it was judo, jiu-jitsu, and they actually done really correctly. They done. And I love the fight between Keanu Reeves and Cameron. That was awesome. The film, they both ran through the window and broke the window, they both ran through the window to the glass, which was awesome. The scene when John Wick falls down, that was a stuntman, wasn't Keanu Reeves, but Keanu Reeves did 95% of his own stunts, which was awesome. It was rated R, and mostly it feels like realistic, when John Wick goes, in the tunnel scene, which is my favorite would be the female violinist in the tunnel scene, which he goes and shoots them. He also wears a bulletproof vest, the people can see. But that was kind of, in my opinion, realistic. It was done for real, because like left, right, assassin shows up and they hit him a few times. And it feels realistic. The fight between Cameron and John Wick was badass, in my opinion. It was awesome. And of course, or when John Wick goes and grabs the pencil, stabs those two guys, in the head, in the air, stabs in the pencil. While it's in the first movie, mentioned that he killed 3 guys with a pencil. This time he kills 2 guys with a pencil. Was awesome, badass. There's a subway station, and Cameron goes, with silencer, and John Wick with a silencer. They both shoot each other, missing each other. There are 2 guys in front of the train in the train station, try to shoot John Wick. John Wick kills both the motherfuckers. He kills both of them, which was a badass scene. He goes to the train, fights with Cameron. Yes, he fights with Cameron. That's awesome. And he goes and stabs him in the water. It says, consider this professional courtesy. And he leaves him, he goes and leaves him in the water, which was awesome, the knife. But actually, Cameron dies. They did correctly the knife scene, but he actually, the character Cajun died anyway. He told him, if you take out your bleed and die, but actually he died anyway because it was realistic, and they both performed the knife scene. It was a badass train scene. It was awesome. And I love the female violinist. She goes and shoots him with a Kimber Warrior. She goes and shoots him with a pistol, with a silencer. And John Wick goes, fights her off. On the end, he goes, breaks her goddamn neck. I love that. He shoots the sumo wrestler. The Asian heavy man shoots him. Love that. Stabs those 2 motherfuckers on a train station. Was awesome. He goes and kills all the elite. He goes to the Bowery King. Bowery King gives him a gun. Goes to this opera. Goes and shoots the motherfuckers with Kimber Warrior 45. Actually, Kimber Warrior 45. Bowery King gives him, with a magazine with 7 rounds, because he's worth of $7 million. So every million he gets 1 round. So 7 rounds, kills the motherfuckers. Santonio escape, and by the end, John Wick goes and kills him. But that's the action scenes and the kills was badass, in my opinion. Movie is a badass. I did wrote down somewhere how much kills was in this film. 116 body counts. It was 116. Hard Bullet still has over 300 body counts, while this movie has 116 counts. Not bad for a sequel. Not bad for a sequel. Um, now I'm actually just a few facts. So this movie, budget cost $40 million, but the first movie, cost $20 million. But this movie made more money than the first one. The first one made 80-60 million dollars. This movie made 171 million dollars, and was opening weekend US and Canada $30 million. This movie was more successful than the first one. I do wish I would see this movie in movie theater. Sadly, I could not. I know I could not watch it in movie theater, and I'm actually going to explain why I could not see John Wick Chapter 2 in movie theater. Because it was in the next near town of mine. Because in my town there is no movie theater. It's actually like 30 miles away from me. And they actually only showed once, during weekdays, during weekends, they actually showed this movie in movie theater very late at night, at 8 at night, which was way too late. And I didn't have any ride back home. No bus, even bus was too expensive for me that time. No train was not driving back. It was in, also the movie was like from 8 till 10. I had no ride back home, and I'm not walking through night, 5 hours, because I did walk, from the town to my hometown for 5 hours a few times, and I got really exhausted, and that's kind of very hard work, hard long walk through night. And I was really disappointed because they did not show John Wick through the weekdays. I wish it would be through Monday till Friday. Then I would actually definitely love to to watch the film. I will go on the bus. But during Saturday, Sunday, I don't have any ride back home. Especially not when the movie keeps playing movie theaters after 10. And that's one of the reasons why I missed this movie, because I had to, And I asked my friends to check it out if this movie will be through Monday till Friday. It was never announced. So sadly, I could not watch this movie theater, but I saw the third one instead, which I'll get soon in the third one. Yeah, it has a great action, great weapons. John Wick is a great marksman, kind of his best performance. John Wick's dog is American Pitbull. I also love his car. I forgot to mention, I love his car, Mustang. I love his car. Never stabbed the devil in the back. Love his car, especially the open scene. The open scene is a badass. The tunnel scene and the female violinist assassins are badass. Those are my favorite scenes in the movie. Now my problems, which I haven't got into the problems. My problems was the guy who plays, Santino Di Antonio. Ricardo Samarzio. I didn't fuck about this guy. This guy was a pussy, because Vigo Terrasso was at least badass. He fought with John Wick. This guy, he was just running away from John Wick. He put a contract with it. He ran away like a pussy. There's only one scene when he went and burned his with the launcher, when he fired the rockets and burned John Wick's house. And that was the only scene he did. And once he fired on John Wick, then he jumped to the window, but he ran away like a pussy. And John Wick goes in the Continental while the pussy is hiding. And he goes and shoots him in the head, and with Kimber Supercat, pistol, he goes and shoots him, and the aim's empty, and he go with one bullet in one round, he shoots him. But that's it, the guy was a pussy. The guy used and betrayed. He go and betrayed John Wick, and and just like Winston, he tells them, you have no idea what is coming. You just bring back the devil who just left this life, and just bring them back. And Santonio was underestimating John Wick. He had no idea what John Wick is capable. And the guy was a fucking pussy. Now, Ruby Rose, who plays Ares, she's a mute assassin, whatever. She fucking sucks. She's terrible. Heidi Moneymaker, who plays the female violinist assassin. She did most of her stunts. Ruby Rose is a lesbian. She fucking sucks in this movie. She's a terrible villain. Miss Perkins is better. Yes, Adrian Palecki was much better as Miss Perkins as female assassin. She actually was more convincing. Also, I read it in the goofs on IMDb that makes no sense why she decides to use the knife with the dagger against John Wick when he's a taller, more superior, more trained opponent. Makes no sense because I do agree with trivia who they wrote in the goose. It makes no sense, but yeah, John Wick goes and stabs her, and he doesn't tell her about, if you take out, the same line that he did to Kasian, because he didn't give a fuck about this bitch, and she goes, I'll be seeing you, the same line from the first movie when Vigo tells him, and I thought the villains were weak. I thought I wish that he could put more. I wish that he would get more fight in himself. It's almost the plot is revenge, but the plot kind of is confusing. So that's one of the problems because the first movie is about his car and his beautiful daughter has been killed. This movie is about the house and the guy who betrays him, used him, double crossed him, and then he sent an elite assassin against him. The plot kind of is confusing, but the action sequences are work. So yes, I love this movie to death, but not much as the first one. John Wick Chapter 2 is a badass. That would be number 4, my favorite of Keanu Reeves. Speed is number 5, but this will be number 4 because the John Wick movies he did are my favorite. But I love this cover. Love this cover, love this movie to death. But one of the modern action films that I really enjoy. Yeah, that's mostly it. I love John Wick's car, the action sequences I mentioned it. The problems is actually the actor who plays Santino D'Antonio and Ruby Rose. They both suck. I don't care about them. I didn't care that much about them. They suck. I thought Michael Enquist as Abram, as Vigo Terrasso was much better villain. He was better. I thought the cast from the first movie was much better, in my opinion. John Leguizamo and of course Franco Nero, they were both in Die Hard 2. That was awesome. But yeah, that's my review on John Wick Chapter 2 2017. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy review. What's your favorite John Wick movie and Keanu Reeves movie? So take care and I'll see you soon. I'm out. Peace. Bye bye.